Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Upatam Tupisin, Bangkok, Thailand. Now we first session for the international workshop on dietary therapy for chronic kidney disease. This morning we have the panel discussion for the dietitian session, and we have 5 speakers for the morning session. And we begin with Dr. Asako Sakai. She obtained her Master of Science in Nutrition Science at the University of Tokushima, Japan. And she engaged in feeding service management in Kawasaki Medical School Hospital in Okayama, and nutritional counseling and management for patients with kidney disease, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease at Kawashima Hospital in Tokushima. Dr. Sakai currently provides nutrition counseling using coaching at Saito Medical Clinic. She also a vice president of the Japanese Society of Renal Nutrition and Metabolism and a member of the Patient Resource Committee in ISRNM. Please.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction, Dr. Oktam. And for this opportunity, Dr. Iseki and Dr. Watanabe, it's a great honor to be here on this special occasion. However, this is the first time to speak in English in front of audience. So if I am unable to answer your questions, I will respond later. Today, I would like to share with my thought based on my experience. Let me begin. COI is on this slide. First of all, I'd like to tell you about in my hometown. My birthday place is Awaji Island, which is located about 2 hours by plane from Okinawa. It's connected to Kobe in north and Tokushima in the south by 2 large suspension bridges. Awaji Island is shaped like the red painted drop on this slide. The length of the island from north to south is about 60 kilometers, but there is no train service, so the only transportation by car. Therefore, without using the highway, it takes over 2 hours by car from north to south end of the island. Just a moment. Oh, sorry. Pointed. Don't point out. Don't, no, so. Sorry, just. The primary industry are fishing, agriculture, and dairy farming. For this reason, Awaji Island is a food-rich area. In the past, the island was called Niketsukuni in Japanese, with meaning the Emperor's Kitchen in Kyoto. Awaji Island has 3 cities, each with a population around 40,000. The Awaji Medical Center is Sumoto City, is the only core hospital. However, it's too far away for residents in the northern and the southern areas of the island. The more problem with kidney care is that there are no full-time nephrologists. Furthermore, there is a lack of specialists in vascular access. Another issue of concern is the aging of the island population. The average age of the islanders is much higher than that of Japan or Kobe City. Moreover, it has been reported by JSDT that there has been a yearly rise in the percentage of elderly patients. undergoing dialysis patient. Elderly people have various problems, as shown in this slide. With this viewpoint, I think it's important to provide nutrition counseling while also considering the current situation in our island. Today, at the request of Dr. Iseki, I'd like to focus on 2 points that I usually struggle with and that are important to me when I provide nutrition counseling to patients. First, let's talk about struggles. One of the most serious struggles is that the CKD patients believe and act on information that have no evidence for their kidneys. The result is that the women worsen the kidney function and their healthy conduction. The shortage of nephrologists and specialists on our island may be a major reason why it's difficult to obtain accurate information. Misinformation is mainly spread by the mass media and health food companies. Also, information from friends, neighbors, family, and other close people of the patient is often incorrect. For example, as noted in the abstract, there is the belief in Japan that watermelon may have a positive impact on kidney health. During the summer, it has been observed that some CKD patients consume a significant quantity of watermelon, resulting in hyperkalemia. In addition, carbohydrate restricted diet has gained population in Japan. However, hyperkalemia may also develop in CKD patients due to excessive protein intake caused by carbohydrate restriction. This slide lists questions commonly asked by people with CKD. Many people believe that to improve their daily habits will lead to a return to normal kidney function. This slide shows a variety of fermented foods in Japan. These foods are often salty, such as miso made from soybeans, Japanese pickles, and salty fish guts, which can make it difficult to reduce salt intake in Japanese. I suggest replacing these food with dishes that use vinegar, hot herbs, and spices. And then most of the low sodium seasonings on the market are made with potassium salt. Therefore, I advise CKD patients to avoid it. On the other hand, there are CKD patients are restricting their consumption of vegetables and fruits, even the absence of hyperkalemia, due to information from dialysis patients. Next, this slide lists questions commonly asked by dialysis patients. In dialysis treatment, some patients do not understand that the word weight has two different meanings. That's dry weight and interdiabetic weight gain. Although dry weight should be maintained, however, interdiabetic weight gain should not be increased too much. The maintained dry weight to maintain dry weight, dialysis patients have to eat enough. However, some patients try to manage their interdiabetic weight gain by skipping meals or eating less, rather than by reducing salt. These patients may be at increased risk for sarcopenia and frailty. So ongoing nutrition counseling is important. Next, I'd like to talk about important things in my nutrition counseling. I use one of the communication techniques called coaching to provide my nutrition counseling. I think it's important for me to build a rapport with the patient in the early stages of nutrition counseling, especially establishing a good rapport is the base of coaching. Rapport refers to the sense of security that the patient can talk to dietitian about anything. Consequently, it became easier to hear the patient's true intentions, which increased the effectiveness of nutrition counseling. To promote rapport building, I try to consider the environment in which I communicate. In a communication setting, it's important to consider 3 points: person, time, place, so that patient can feel comfortable talking about something. Especially in nutrition counseling, we as a dietitian are also involved in the environment. Here, the question: which health professional do you think easier to communicate with? Do you know? No? This one. Next question. Which spaces do you see more approachable? Do you know? This is also one. Then, what makes it look so easy to talk to? Can you explain their difference? It's the difference in the corner of the mouth. By slightly lifting the corners of the mouth, we can appear more welcoming and friendly. So, before talking with the patient, I always try to raise the corners of my mouth with a smile and do the mindset in front of the mirror. Allow me to share the story of a diabetic dialysis patient with hyperphosphatemia and hyperkalemia. When I started working at my current clinic 6 years ago, every time I approached her bedside during the dialysis, she always told me, "Anna Ferla, the doctors and nurses have given up on me. So it doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to call on me. Leave me alone." I felt her sadness in her words and voice tone. Would you consider her to be poor? compliant patients. And what would you say to her? Probably, I'm sure that no one here would use these words on this slide. But I think these words are the stigmas that have been said in the diabetes field in the recent years. The word stigma is derived from the Greek word for a negative mark bound on the skin. From there, it refers to the mental and physical hardship caused by the spread of mistaken knowledge and information. According to the 2018 report, it has been suggested that the language used by health professionals can be a barrier to patient motivation in direct care. Therefore, health professionals need to be mindful of their language and choose their words carefully. This activity is known as advocacy. However, it's not yet widespread in the field of nephrology. I think such advocacy efforts will be needed in the field of nephrology and dialysis in the future. So when Ms. X says, leave me alone, I think it's important to acknowledge and validate her emotion. One positive approach should be to use your listening skills and show empathy for her feelings. Patient goals are often determined by medical professionals. However, I try to respect the patient's thought. During nutrition counseling, I try to keep my patient motivation by asking them questions about their goals and using them as a code word with them. Finally, the biggest whirlpool in the world can be seen in the southern sea of our island. These whirlpools are especially visible in spring and fall. Please visit Awaji Island if you have a chance. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Pakai. I think we will have the panel discussion at the end of the session. So I think we will leave our session at the end of the session.
Thank you.
Then we move on to the next session. We have Dr. Wen Chun Wang. He will give a talk about the experience of dietary management of CKD patient and multidisciplinary care program in National Taiwan University Hospital. He graduated from the School of Nutrition and Health Science in Taipei Medical University, and he's now a specialist in renal nutrition and diabetes educator.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the introduction and Dr. Putra. I'm not sure the and thank you for the speaker. And I'm from Taiwan. My name is Wang Wenqing, and today my topic will be the experience of therapy management of CKD patients and multidisciplinary care program in the NTUH. My current work in the National Taiwan University Hospital are cardiovascular and immunology work care and nutrition counseling clinic, including general nutrition, physiotherapy, and heart failure patient. CKD is a global health burden with a high economic cost to health systems and is an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease. The reason could be the release of hormones, enzymes, cytokines, and from the kidney due to the kidney injury or kidney insufficiency. Others like CKD associated with phenols and mixed chains could also induce cardiac damage. So that all stages of CKD are associated with increased risk of cardiovascular mortality, premature mortality, and decreased quality of life. Previous study has shown the high prevalence of CKD in the world, around 11% and mortality rate is very steep. According to the incident data, Taiwan has the highest rate of ESRD, so it is an important health issue that we need to focus on. In Taiwan, the prevalence of CKD is also very high. According to the previous research in Taiwan, the prevalence of CKD is around 13%. However, the awareness rate of this disease is very low in these patients. According to the study results, there is only 8% in stage 3, and the rate is getting higher when the CKD progress. And there is about around 25% in stage 4 and 71% in stage 5. So how to diagnose CKD at an early stage, prevent its progression to ESRD, and reduce cardiovascular disease, complication, and mortality are 3 points to prevent and treatment of CKD. Due to the high prevalence of the diagnosis and ESRD in Taiwan, the National Health Insurance Administration, the NHI in Taiwan, started a ESRD program in 2005. And the goal of this program is to carry out the case management for those high-risk groups for CKD, early detection and intervention to decrease the incidence of ESRD, delayed dialysis, and the occurrence of other complications. Patients in CKD stage 3B to stage will have a high proteinuria to be enrolled in this program. Multidisciplinary teams, including doctors, nurses, dietitians, and pharmacists or other specialists will be enrolled. And the patient care model is established to improve the quality of the medical care. The program is initiated by the doctor, and the patient's data with actual conditions are evaluated and referred by the case manager. In the first time, the patient will be visited by the whole team, including doctors, case manager, dietitian, pharmacist. Patient's BMI, body weight change, daily food intake, data, and medication will be assessed by the dietitian. Dietary intervention will be discussed with the patient as depending on the patient's condition or problem. Every CKD patient will receive at least one nutrition counseling every 6 months, depending on the patient's condition. The program will be ended when the patient has dialysis, kidney transplant, or related care. While this multidisciplinary team, every occupation has different duties and chemical, the blood pressure, lipid profile, blood sugar, proteinuria, anemia, and related disease prevention. In diet strategy of CKD, there is a lot of elements to control. The main points should be focused on the nutrition, enough energy intake, and electrolyte balance. First, let's talk about the energy and protein intake. According to the guidelines and the previous research, we know protein restriction can delay the deterioration of the renal function by reducing uremia. In addition to protein restriction, it is also very important about adequate energy intake in CKD control. With enough energy intake, our patients can maintain nutrition status and avoid protein energy wasting syndrome. However, the diabetes control could cause some problems from our patients. Usually, our patients are lack of knowledge of the disease, so they don't know how to dietary control and which kind of food is high in protein for the concentration of different foods. They don't know which kind of food is carbohydrate or high in protein. Some of the patients have poor compliance in the low protein diet, due to their eating habit or their worry about not enough nutrition intake. Also, there are some patients over control their diet. Some of the patients are very worried about getting paralysis, so they over restrict their diet. So we can see just from the body weight loss, decrease in nutrition-related data, or the patient getting depression. And due to other comorbidities such as diabetes, a lot of patients in our clinic they are worried about to decrease the carbohydrate and fat intake in their diet. So when they only decrease the protein intake in their diet alone, they will increase the malnutrition risk. According to the Taiwan CKD clinical guidelines, CKD patients with stage 3 to 5 adopt a low protein diet, that the protein intake is lesser than 0.8 grams per kilo per day. For patients with CKD stage 4 to 5, they can adopt a low protein diet under a well-educated and due compliance. A daily protein intake around 0.6 to 0.8, or a very low protein diet, which means the daily protein intake will less to 0.3 to 0.4 with the acid supplement to achieve a total daily protein intake to 0.6 to 0.8 grams. This figure on the right is the 2017 to 2020 Nutrition and Health Survey in Taiwan, and it's about the macronutrient energy intake percentage of total energy intake. By this data, the percentage of the protein intake in Taiwan's adult is around 16 to 17%, and it's equal to around 65 to 91 grams per day, with the mean energy intake of 1,600 to around 2,100 calories per day. And the high protein foods side, will say the portion size in Taiwan is around 5 to 9% for the service per day. So due to the low awareness of this disease and excessive protein intake is expected for our patients newly diagnosis of CKD in Taiwan. In Taiwan daily dietary guidelines, food are classified into 6 groups, depending on their characteristics. There are fruits, vegetables, grains or starchy vegetables, beans, fish, meat, berries, oil, nuts, and seeds, those 6 groups. The beans, fish, eggs, and meat and the berry group are the food that contain high biological value protein. And one serving of these kind of food are defined as having 7 to 8 grams of protein, such as 1 ounce of fish, meat, 1 egg, and parts of tofu. In our facility, for patient that is newly diagnosis of CKD, the dietitian will introduce a 6 group of food to the patient, and the protein restriction side will be educated to our patient and their primary caregiver or family. High biological value protein will be designed at least 50% of total daily protein intake, and the portion size of the high protein food will be discussed with the patient, depending on their age, body weight, BMI, nutrition status, comorbidity, dietary habits, and compliance. For patients that are at high risk of malnutrition, like the condition below, such as diabetes, cancer, heart failure, or even in old age, the strict protein restriction needs to be more careful and more frequently followed up. Low biological value protein are mainly in grains, for products, starchy beans, and nuts or seeds. However, these foods are very common in our dietary pattern in Taiwan. To reduce low biological value protein, reduce intake of raw products, nuts, and seeds will be introduced. Will educate to our patients. Due to low protein amount in the rice, we will suggest the patient to choose rice or other grains as their main staple food. Keto analog will used by the doctor's order. According to the CKD guideline, every 5 to 10 kilograms of body weight suggests to prepare 1 cup of keto acid. In Taiwan, National Health Insurance suggests the NHR suggests if the patient's eGFR is less or equal to 15 and receives a low protein diet for 3 months, this type of keto acid could be reimbursed by the NHR. In our facility, if the patient receives keto acid, they usually get 6 capsules per day. A higher dose depends on the doctor's patient evaluation and the patient's will of self-paced keto acid. So if the dosage did not reach the guideline suggestion, a low protein diet around 0.6 to 0.8 will be modified by the dietitian. According to a Taiwan CKD guideline, enough energy intake to maintain oxygen nitrogen balance and avoid protein energy wasting is suggested. The energy requirement is suggested according to the nutrition and health survey in Taiwan. So around 25 to 35 calories per kilo is recommended depending on the different age and group. Due to lack of CKD knowledge and for better disease control such as diabetes or the healthy concept, eating concept in Taiwan, lower carbohydrate and lower fat intake are usually carried out by our patients. Lower energy intake usually found in patients that are very nervous with strict diet control. The body weight, BMI, albumin data, decrease, and the kidney function scale program. So to keep adequate energy intake, energy mainly will come from like grains or starchy vegetables and oil. To meet adequate energy goals and low protein intake, the use of low protein starch and its products are usually suggested in Taiwan. Through the processing method, the protein amount in these starches is very low. These starches including potato starch, sweet potato starch, lotus root powder, wheat starch, and more. These starches usually being used in the Chinese cooking style, and its products are also very common in Taiwan, such as rice noodles, banana cake, rice pudding, mung-bean noodles, and more. According to our eating style, dietitian usually suggests CKD patients to replace one meal of their staple food to a low protein starch product. For some patients with inadequate energy intake, these foods can also be used in the dessert to increase their energy intake. Low protein commercial products are also convenient food that to increase energy and maintain low protein intake. In Taiwan, there are also low protein products such as low protein rice, noodles, soup, or other oral nutrition supplements. For low protein rice, we usually use to replace the main staple to decrease the protein intake and maintain enough energy intake. And for patients in malnutrition or poor oral intake, the low protein oral nutrition supplement will be suggested to our patients depending on their daily intake and their food habits and their nutrition status. To achieve adequate energy intake and maintain low protein intake, increase dietary intake of carbohydrates like rice, starchy vegetables, low protein starch, and fat, such as the vegetable oils intake, is necessary. And low protein foods or other commercial products can also provide to provide our patients that to increase their choices. About the electrolyte balance, dietary intake of phosphorus, potassium, and sodium need to be adjusted by the patient's condition. The imbalance of electrolyte also needs dietary supplements. However, questions also come back from our patients. They don't have a knowledge about the disease, so they don't know why their electrolyte is getting higher or imbalanced. For the food choice, we don't know which kind of food is maybe high in potassium, high in phosphorus. And also poor compliance due to the food habit are also the problem for like the electrolyte imbalance. Over control also cause like malnutrition and different eating pattern or style, and also cause electrolyte imbalance. Hyperphosphatemia is usually appear in CKD stage 4 to 5 patients. The main reason is due to the excessive dietary intake of high phosphorus foods and the incorrect use of phosphorus binder. For patients with hyperphosphatemia, dietitian will suggest the patient to avoid high phosphorus foods, especially the processed foods, which is high in organic phosphorus, such as processed meat, fast food, and more. Skills like reading the food label, choosing of the natural food and plant-based food, or even the better compliance of the low protein diet should be educated to our patients. So how to properly use the phosphorus binder are also very important. These medications should be taken with meals or even snacks. Dietitian will educate the patient to separate the phosphorus binder and equally distribute to the beginning and to the end when the patient are taking their every meal. And last, malnutrition is also needs to be aware when hypophosphatemia is needed. About potassium metabolism, around 80 to 95% of potassium are excreted by urine, and around 5 to 20% are from feces. So when the CKD patient didn't have anuria or constipation, their potassium level are usually in normal range. However, excessive dietary intake, medication-related, and the decrease of urine output with constipation can cause hypothyroidism. In our experience, eating high potassium foods such as fresh vegetables, fruits, starchy vegetables, or drinking soup, using dietary supplements, nuts, and low sodium salt or salt using are the most common reasons that cause hypothyroidism. To correct the potassium level, skills like cooking vegetable with boiling water and choosing low potassium food and products will be educated to our patients. According to the CKD guidelines, sodium intake is limiting to less than 2,300 milligrams per day. The range of this sodium intake is also the same as in the Taiwan daily dietary suggestion. For healthy people, we suggest not to avoid 2,400 milligrams of sodium per day. However, the previous survey in Taiwan showed excessive sodium intake in our people. The source of the sodium are mainly from salty seasoning, condiments, sauce, processed food, raw products, pet food, and instant food. Also, with the increasing rate of eating out, excessive sodium intake is substantial. To control the sodium intake, skills including choosing natural food, self-preparing diet, reading the food label, and using eating out skills, such as eating noodles without drinking fish, rinsing the excessive sauce, or seasoning with water, and avoiding extra sauce or table condiments. According to our previous research in the NT these skills will reduce half to 2 grams of salt in each dish for 5 days. So for sodium control, avoid too much salty seasoning and eating out with skills will be educated or discussed with our patients. And yeah, CKD is a very complicated and highly restricted science. How to increase the dietary compliance and learning efficiency is very important. In the NTUH, the CKD team can make different kinds of education tools, such as different types of disease health education manuals, food models, 10 models to learn like the daily protein, the meat portion size, and low protein diet recipes to teach the patient how to prepare their diet and control their protein intake. Also, we made different kinds of online CKD education videos and turn into QR codes so the patient can easily watch it on their cell phone at any time. There is also an CKD app for our patients. By this app, the patient can upload their daily blood pressure, heart rate, body weight, blood sugar, and even meal photos to our system. So the team can review these data and discuss with the patient when they are follow up in our OPD. The app also links to the NTUH online videos and online quiz, which can test the patient's CKD knowledge. We also have health education activities in the community, such as the CKD patient support group, and other events. This event is on the World Student Day with dietitians and case manager and our nutrition interns in the hospital. And the patient will be regularly followed up, and the dietary intake on nutrition-related lab data will be evaluated by the dietitian. So CKD diet is a very complicated and highly food-restricted diet, and individualized dietary plan that the patient can adapt needing overall consideration and partially modified by each follow-up. In summary, a more simple and convenient diet plan will lead to higher compliance and better outcomes. Thank you for your attention. Let's give it to us.
The next speaker is Dr. Chandrapat Gan. Dr. Chandrapat Gan is a lot of graduate. Now she is the president of Thai Diabetes Association. So she will be talking about the current diabetes management for CKD in Thailand. Are you ready? Oh.
Thank you very much for this interview. Good morning, everyone. First, let me thank you, Professor Echeki, organizing committee, Professor for having me here today. And my talk will be about my experience on battery management for CKD in Thailand. And my talk today is going to be about CKD in Thailand and how we manage the CKD patients. We will emphasize on the state of 3D5 today and also the CKD network in Thailand. I think that Dr. Isakam already mentioned yesterday about the prevalence of the CKD in Thailand. We have around 73.5% of people that in Thailand that have CKD problems, which is about 8 million population, and about 7.5%, which is about 3.4 million in spread TB. And of course, we all know that the CKD progression is have a burden on the economy. And this is the way we usually have some self-assessment. We call Thai CKD risk score, and you can scan this and then check and see that you have a risk of CKD or not. And the second one, I will go over the battery management on the CKD stage, 3B to 5. And of course, I will go of medical nutrition therapy for the CKD patients. It is to maintain the optimum nutrition status and how to meet the protein and energy requirements, as well as the reduce mobility and mortality, and also increase the quality of life of the CKD patients. So you all know that we have a lot of dietary pattern nowadays to approach to the CKD patients, such as DASH diet. And do you know why, besides the low sodium, why you have DASH diet? What's the difference between low sodium and DASH diet? Okay. It's very smart that if you think about our Asian countries, our meal in Thailand, when you eat something, we always have some side dishes. I think the older people or the ancient our ancestors know how to prevent, the disease, such as DASH diet. You increase the vegetable intake. Why? Because it has more potassium. You all know that for the hypertension, sodium is have related to the hypertension. So when you have more potassium on vegetable and drink more water, as well as in this one they have some low milk recommendation because it has some calcium. You know that sodium, calcium, as well as potassium is mainly related to the hypertension. So when you have high sodium intake, then you have some potassium in it. It will make you excrete more sodium in the urine. And that's why the DASH diet coming along. And also Mediterranean diet, they talk about monounsaturated fatty acids, which about the oil. This is about olive oil, but in the Asian, in my country, we use rice bran oil instead of olive oil, which also has high in monounsaturated fatty acids. And about the diabetes food pyramid, the first thing that for the diabetes is moving. Let them move. And also the baseline is not starch, it's fruit and vegetables. And also we have the CKD food pyramid. And in Thailand, and also you already heard many speakers yesterday about plant-dominant low protein diet. And in Thailand, we also have Thai CKD food pyramid, which developed by the dietitian there, and to tell the patient what to eat when you have a CKD. And Dr. Upatam already mentioned yesterday about that guideline for the kidney disease. We also have our Thai guideline, which made from developed by the Society of Nephrologists of Thailand, as well as the Society of Parenteral Nutrition in Thailand. And the factor that to help nutrition therapy to be successful, as you all know, that we need the multidisciplinary team approach, as well as nutrition recommendations and meal planning and modified recipe, and as well as the follow-up. And this is the integrated team. Professor Kriang Tang Sanga, I will say that renal disease progress in Thai CKD patients could be delayed or even arrested by the multidisciplinary team approach. And patients through the understanding and frequent monitor of dietary protein intake with reliable tools such as the NPLA are crucial for the success of the therapy. And these are examples of the multidisciplinary team CKD. And we have, of course, the doctor, the nephrologist involved, the nurses, and the dietitian, and as well as the pharmacist and other education programs that we have to the patients. And they done some research on that what happens if we just have the doctor alone in the nephrologist clinic compared with the one that have CKD clinic with multidisciplinary team approach. And they found that if we have the multidisciplinary team CKD clinic, then the serum creatinine have been dropping and the eGFR is getting better. And these are the characteristics of the success food teams, which is the cost, the patient center, and the commitment to the nutrition support using evidence practice, and also well research that we all here today to look at the update on many research done how to improve our patients' quality of life, and also the monitoring and communications with our first speaker have a nice talk about the communications with the patients. And the factor, another one is nutrition recommendations. The challenge of the dietitian is how to translate the diet recommendation according to the guideline to the meal. And this is the way we do. In Thailand, we have developed the easy dietary assessment. In this version, it's version 3, which includes the potassium and also the phosphorus in this form, EDA form, and which have 4 pages. The first page is about patient information. The second page is about the dietary record and also the food in Thailand. They have the average. They come up with the average energy, protein, sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. And the last page is dietary pattern to instruct for the patient. And these are we done and have the correlation on this one. We look at the correlation with the NPLA, and we found that the protein have a good correlation with this EDA form. Look at the role of the dietitian in the management. This is some case. We have a 68 Thai male with the CKD 3B with the current weight 72 kilos and the height is 165. And he eats about 3 times a day, which come up with the high blood pressure. But his blood pressure and blood sugar is well controlled, and serum albumin is 3.5, and have some edema. To using this EDA form, this form have the calculation, have the formula to calculate ideal body weight, which Ajahn Upatam already mentioned that how to calculate ideal body weight, which is the male, the height minus 100, and the female is the height in centimeter minus by 105. And the first page also have the dietary recommendation according to the guidelines. And the recommendation for this guy is about 0.6 grams. And he weighs around 65 kilo according to his ideal body weight. So we come up with, we're supposed to give to him 40 grams of protein, as well as the energy requirement is around 1,950. And so the diet order, or he's supposed to have, is around 39 to 40 grams of protein and 1,950. And how to translate this? It's quite easy because on the fourth page of the EDA, it also have the dietary pattern for the CKD. To get the 40 grams of protein, 1,550, he should have, we already have the pattern. So you look at the 40 grams of protein in this chart, and then you can tell them that he's supposed to have about 8 tablespoonfuls of meat, 4 ladders of rice, 3 ladders of low protein starch, 3 ladders of vegetables, 2 servings of fruit, 10 teaspoons of oil, and 6 teaspoons of sugar. And everybody, nurses, nephrologists, and everyone can tell the patient on this. And to get 1,950, he needs to add more calories without adding more protein by using the oil or the low protein starch. And this is what he eats at present. So that we already know the recommendation, but how about this patient, what he eats now? So we do the dietary assessment, and the breakfast he eats like this, and the lunch he eats like this, and the supper he eats like this. So from there, we develop the EDA application that we can use both the Android and iOS. It's already finished, and we probably launch this EDA application this year. It can calculate. It's just like the EDA in the paper form that translates into the application. So the patients can use this, or even the healthcare provider can key whatever he eats according to the page like this in there. So we go by and we just put in what he eats, how much he eats in this application. And according to that application, he eats around, right now, about 60 grams of protein, 1,600 kilocalories, and sodium around 3,199. I haven't calculated the potassium and phosphorus. We have to put that in this version. We just come up with average potassium and phosphorus in each food groups and in each Thai dishes. And so this patient needs to reduce around 20 grams of protein and need to increase calories around 350 kilocalories. So the dietitian will consult the patient on how to reduce 20 grams of protein and how to add another 350 kilocalories. And this is the way you have a workshop over there. The workshop for the CKD, we have 2 workshops. The workshop 1 for the healthcare professional, and the second one is for the people with the CKD. We have the workshop on how to make the low protein diet. The challenge is how to make a low protein with the patient accept of the test, as well as to get enough calories in order to prevent malnutrition and mineral control. And the workshop will help the counselor to educate the patient and will ensure the patient with CKD to have a self-management in meal planning. Okay, this is some example of low protein diet, and we make this workshop together. And these are some day 1. What we have a nephrologist coming in and have tell about the physiology of the kidney, nutrition, biochemistry, and this workshop is for the healthcare provider. Okay, and this is day 1 that we do together, and this is the day 2. We have both pharmacists coming in and talk, and the workshop number 1 is eating technique and mindset and eating out. And then day 2, we have individual counseling tests, how to talk to the patients and how to use the EDA form. And the 3 hours workshop is another one that we do. It's for the CKD patients on how to do the low protein diet. we plan the menu together. We have the healthcare provider, the nurses, dietitian, or whoever that would like to help the patient on planning the menu. In Thailand, luckily, since we're the Buddhists, we have the healthy plate using mango leaf. It's very amazing that our ancestors know how to eat. They just talk about the healthy plate. According to the healthy plate, on the Western, the plate supposed to be have 9 inches in diameter. In Thailand, the mango is already 9 inches in diameter, and also have the edge that coming up around here. It means that when you put the rice, supposed not to go over this plate. And we divide it into 4 sections like this. And then we have a healthy Thai plate for the CKD. We put the vegetable, about half of it. If the patient have no problem with potassium, we put the rice and starch in those plates. Okay, the rice, we have many variety of rice in Thailand. It's high in fiber, low in glycemic index, especially, but we tell them to eat if they're on stage 3B and have no problem with serum phosphorus. We can use any type of rice. But basically, most of our patients is diabetes, so we usually choose for the rice that have a low RAG, which means rapid available glucose. We have many variety of rice in Thailand, and these are some examples of the low glycemic. And how much rice in the one ladder? We teach them this, and we look at the portion on the starch group is high in sodium and high in phosphorus. We use the meat group and portion on the processed meat, and also the any meat that's high in sodium and phosphorus. And this is the local protein in northeastern part of Thailand. We have to adapt available protein in each local places, and we have to tell them how much is equal to 2 tablespoonfuls of meat, which is equal to 7 grams of protein. Ajahn Upatam already talk about this, how to easily estimate protein and calories in for the each group in Thailand. And these are some easy estimate protein and calorie on the fruit group as well as on the other groups. And this is the saucer that we use to that how much the fruit you can eat each time. And how to manage low protein diet and get enough at the same time. So these are some how to manage same. In Thailand, we don't have many low protein products at all. So we basically use some of the natural products that are available there, such as the tapioca flour, Korean noodle, and the low DE maltodextrin to slow the release of the sugar to provide them with enough energy. And the menu from the low protein starch, we have to tell them how you cook, for all those low protein starch. And these are some of the menus that we have in our country according to the Thai food. And how to make it look delicious with less milk, with less meat when you provide only 1 or 2 tablespoons per meal. This is original congee with 1.5 exchange starch and the pork ball. But to modify menu to make it more good looking, then we need to do like this instead of put it in the bowl. We can make it like this for the patient to eat better. And this is how to do it, to make it more palatable and when low protein, high energy. And it's a some that we do it to make it look good. And the modified protein and energy from egg white and plant-based protein and egg white drink. These are some, we have a recipe we call Make It White Egg Recipe. It's developed by the dietitians. And so we have so many menus that you can do. And these are some Izuran tempeh recipes. You can have that. And this is a low protein and also the calorie 104 calories. And this is how to do it. And the menu for the CKD kit on the left-hand side is for the CKD kit with the non-dialysis. On the right-hand side is for the dialysis kit. So we do all of this for the kit as well. And the last one is low sodium food with acceptable vegetable test. So the technique to the reduce sodium but still enjoyable meal, you can create menu with the family. You cut off the processed food, add herb and low sodium sauce, and eat out less, and also read the label. These are the typical when we talk about the technique to reduce the sodium. And these are herbs in Thailand that we use, many chili, basil, and also ginger. And we also developed the low salt teaspoon because we eat the fish sauce. So we make a hole in the teaspoon to make it, the patient can choose this to make it. And we also have innovation on the salt meter that we can test, how much salt of this food are, and it make awareness to the patients when they do the recipes. And these are low sodium in the processed food that we do. We have some product right now that both using the KCL and natural fermented. So we have low sodium sauce in Thailand. We have some homemade seasoning that we can use. We have some low sodium seasoning from vegetable and herb, and low sodium soup and seasoning on this one developed by the dietitian as well. Okay, this one is most of them is my advisee. So it's a Katai who is at the Thabat Nakrin, and the right hand side is Kama. He's also in the Institute of Nutrition, Mahidol University. As well as we have to make the meal more suitable for the elderly who have problem with dysplasia. And also the food formulation for low sodium in popular dishes, you can see this. And also the nutrition educational tools. We have so many that the patient can scan the QR code and learn by themselves. We have the training project that we done with many organizations, and we have the food model to teach the patients, and we have the low protein menu, phosphorus counting booklet that we do, low sodium cookbook, and the video as well. And as well as to see how they eat it and do they eat enough. Besides that, to prevent malnutrition, we have malnutrition screening, which Ajahn Ipakam already mentioned yesterday about the nutrition alert form and nutrition kayak. That one that from Society of Nutrition, Society of Enteral and Parenteral Nutrition Society in Thailand developed that. And the CKD network, which is very important. The CKD organized network in Thailand, we have so many organized that try to get the CKD, delay the CKD progression in Thailand. So we have to work together. We have to integrate the CKD clinics and also the primary care. We have to do that. As Ajahn, Professor Graham already mentioned yesterday about village. In Thailand, we have 2 doctors per family policy, which the first doctor is the village volunteer, and the second doctor is the public health center, a healthcare provider, and the third doctor is a multi-team in the hospital, and the patient themselves as caregiver is the clinic. So every supposed to have this, the 3 doctors per family policy that have been done in Thailand to help to delay the patients. These are the community network called Love City Team. That is from Ayutthaya Hospital. And we also developed this by the dietitian from Phumit Nakari, a Katai, Satia, to also make this rural that for the village, when they go and see that, to visit at home, how they already eat the meat, how much meat they're supposed to eat, they already told them from the hospital. So the villager will go and check and see that do they follow the diet by using that easy tools, which is called the meat ruler tool for monitor protein intake when they visit at home. And these are some of the to use the how much they weigh and how much protein and how much teaspoon of the meat that they're supposed to have per day according to their CGSR or the state of the kidney. And this is also have the telemedication seen in CKD care. We have a CKD patient, we have kidney healthcare volunteer, and a medical doctor to do all of this. And this is from the Ayutthaya Hospital, which is in the province in Thailand. And the local network to slow down the CKD. As you've seen, we have to work many the village leader and CKD village health volunteer, dietitian, nutritionist, or healthcare provider, restaurant, market, the farmer, transport, to provide the good meal, the good food, the vegetable without pesticide, and which is toxic to the kidney. So we all do those together to make the network work to slow down the progression of the CKD in Thailand. The thing is to make our patients more quality of life for the CKD patients. And this is the last one that I would like to add on, that we have a lot of COVID crisis right now. In Thailand, we do have a flood. And how to treat don't forget that you also have some patients at home on Tuesday. So also some of them on dialysis and some not with the CKD. So what should we do with those patients? So this is how to eat healthy food during COVID crisis. We look at the survival bag and we modify that. If they get the instant noodle, how to eat those, with the hypertension people, and how to select ready-to-eat meals for the diabetes, as well as to how to modify for increased protein during disaster. And these are some CKD patients during disaster. And these are some of the research done by one of my advisors. We talk about how our patients on CKD, when they have COVID crisis, what should we do? So the easiest way to do at that time is to look at the available of the UHT lactose-free, which is milk, which is most basically soybean milk and the rice milk. So we have some soybean and rice milk available on the shelf during that time. And we're looking at the viscosities, we're looking at the osmolality of all of these products. And we come up with, for the general population, how much they're supposed to have if they want 1,200 calories, 1,500, 1,800 calories. And this is for the regular two feedings. And for the diabetes, how much they're supposed to have on each one, how many boxes of those UHT can have. And for CKD patients, we use the rice milk because it's low in protein and low in phosphorus and also low in potassium. And these are some of the examples that you can feed the rice milk, UHT rice milk for the chronic kidney disease. We already looked at the osmolality is between around 300 to 500 osmol. So you can use that during the emergency as well. And it's also, we have a two feeding bag, which includes the UHT, a vegetable oil, alcohol gel, cotton fiber, saline 53, and the water for our two feeding patients. So in my conclusion, for the management of CKD progression, you need the method of the safe nutrition status, the patient's specific dietary needs, and the ongoing nutrition, prevention potential of nutrition deficiency, and also the challenge that you need to do to translate all those food into low protein and enjoyable eating. That's very important for me. And also prevent to do all of this, you need the multidisciplinary team approach. And this is all my talk, 20-something minutes. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chendal. It's a great presentation.
We move to the next speaker. We have Dr. Lau Wai Tu. He is a clinical dietitian working at the University Malaya Medical Center, Malaysia since 2008. He graduated from the National University of Malaysia with a bachelor's degree in dietetics in 2004. He recently received her master's degree in medical science at the University Malaya in 2023. Dr. Wai Tu is interested in medical nutrition therapy for renal disease, and she will give a talk about the dietary management for patients with chronic kidney disease experience in Malaya. Please, Dr. Wai.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the invitation from the organizer. And this is a great honor for us to talk about our experience in Malaysia for the dietary management for patients with chronic kidney disease. Well, this is my presentation outline. Well, let me have 1 minute to introduce to you the beauty of Malaysia. Malaysia is a multi-racial country. There are many races that we live happily together. And for example, for Malay, there's a main races that we have that make up about 70% of the total population. Followed by Chinese, for example, me, I'm a Chinese from Malaysia and Indian, as well as like Kazakhstan, Iran, and so on. Because of the multi-racial background, Malaysia is well known as a food paradise. As each of us will love to share our food culture together. For example, for Malays, they are famous with their Malay cuisine, or what we usually eat that as part of our dessert or during our tea time. Basically, these are the food that are high in calories because it's mainly made from the coconut milk and it's quite sweet. And for Chinese and Indian, we still maintain our unique cooking from our great-great-grandmothers. And because of the globalizations, it'll be very easy to get the foreign food, Thai food, Japanese food, as well as Western food, or whatever you can name it, you can find in Malaysia. And besides that, as one very special scenario in Malaysia is that the food here is very affordable. You can imagine with 100 Japanese yen, what you can get in Japan. But with less than $1 US, you can enjoy our signature food. If you visit Malaysia before, I'm sure you tried the nasi lemak. This is what we call the fragrant rice cooked with the coconut milk and served with the spicy anchovies, fried peanut, and also boiled egg. If you're lucky, you can get a few pieces of the fresh cucumber there. But if you don't like something spicy, you can also get a plate of the fried noodle with the less of 100 Japanese yen. Or one prata, in Malaysia we call that roti canai with egg inside, or about 5 pieces of the curry. Yes, even though the food available at the hawker store is quite affordable and it's very easy to be accessible, but mainly the food served are high in calories, high fat, high salt, high phosphate, and also high in the dietary acid. It means it may not be suitable for our CKD patients. So let's see how popular is the eating out culture among Malaysian adults. And this is the data we collect before the pandemic of COVID-19. And actually, the eating out culture is become more and more popular after the food delivery company well established in Malaysia. So you can see here, in this is the data we collected before the 2014, with the 2,000 Malaysian adults that we interviewed, that near to 9% of them are reported to eat out or eating at home with the meals coming from outside, means something like food delivery. And when we break it down to the total meals that each of the subjects have, we notice that at least 50%, nearly 50% of that are actually the food coming from outside. It means on average, each of the Malaysian adults will have 1 meal from outside each day. And this will make up the challenge for dietitians when we plan for a diet modifications for our CKD patients, especially for low salt and also low protein diet. Okay, let's see the current rate of the overweight and obesity in Malaysia. Perhaps because of the unhealthy eating environment as well as the sedentary lifestyle, the current rate of overweight and obesity in Malaysia is in a rise. And you can see in 2016, we have only 47.7% of people who are either overweight or obese, and this number increased to 53.5%. It means now, in 2 Malaysian adults, at least one of us will be either overweight and obese. I hope I'm not one of them. All right, so, and this number is projected to be higher after our government announced to use the Asian BMI cutoff point as 23, starting from last year in July. So it means next year, the number will be getting higher. Okay, because and now look at the CKD prevalence in Malaysia. So more than 80% of the primary renal disease in Malaysia are due to diabetes, what we call the diet-related disease, and followed by the hypertension. And this is something that we should mix up with. This is the regions and countries where CKD is the top 10 causes of years of life lost in 2030. Unfortunately, Malaysia is one of the countries we mentioned here. In Malaysia, 2018, the prevalent rate of CKD was reported at 15.48%. And in 2022, we have 293 per million population of immune diabetes and 6 per million population of immune transplantation. Because of the highly prevalent rates of the CKD in Malaysia, so basically we work as a team to manage our CKD patients. In each of the tertiary hospitals, we have a renal team And the nephrologist will be our team leader. And for the members, we have dietitian, nurses, and also pharmacy. And this is the guidelines that we use to tackle our patients. Yes, we have our local guideline. We call the CTG guideline that is mainly revised every 4 years. And definitely, we will also refer to the major guidelines like the KSOC, KD4, Paris guideline, Aspen, and so on. And besides that, for as a dietitian, we also have our MNC, micronutrition and therapy guideline for the renal nutrition. Now it's being updated. Well, I understand the concern of the nephrologist or the physicians regarding the protein restriction diet and put the patient at high risk of the malnutrition. So because of that, each of the patients will go through a nutrition screening before we start them with any testing intervention. Only the right patients with a good nutritional status will be started on the food restriction, for example, low protein or very low protein diet. Okay, now let's move on to how we manage our patients. For the CKD, early stage of CKD, stage 1 and 2, basically we will tackle more on the underlying disease like diabetes control, blood pressure control, as well as weight management. You can see quite a rate of obesity in Malaysia, so it's very important to reduce the risk for the CKD progression. Low salt diet, I would say all throughout the CKD stages, we advertise about the low salt diet. And for Taiwan, we have they have the healthy plate, and Malaysia is also some kind of a healthy plate concept. We are using also the 9-inch plate, but we do have the at each of that cluster, it will be a normal plate. So basically, we encourage the patients to have half of the plate will be the vegetable, quarter of that will be the carbohydrate, and also quarter of that again will be the protein plate. And because a lack of the dietitians in the primary healthcare setting, so we will train our nurses and also the doctors. We will tell the patients something easy to practice while we're waiting to see dietitians in the special hospital. For example, the doctors will ask the patients to stop and restrict all those junk food. And this is something that very easily available in Malaysia again. And we love to eat that when we are watching drama. That's why we love the Korean drama so much. All right, and also we have all this Malay cushion in the big part of our breakfast. In this usually we have a packet of the lemak plus a few pieces of the food. And this is one of the reasons why we have a high rate of obesity. And at the same time, we use the sugary drink. And also be careful on the protein intake. We will not ask them to follow a low protein diet, but we want them to eat the protein in moderation. And basically, high calorie, high fat, high sodium food, something like this is especially as part of the fat or the tea time is something that we have to avoid or reduce at the early stage of the CKD. Well, when the CKD move on to stage 3, when GFR less than 60, and we will start again on the low salt diet, as well as this time we will mention a lot of the low protein diet and also the low dietary acid diet. So for the protein restriction approach, I'm quite happy with the speaker from Sweden yesterday mentioned so much on that or protein restrictions that is necessary or not. And also because of the new guidelines come out, the KSOC 2020 is the first time they mentioned something regarding the no upper limitations of the protein intake. As well as there's some articles regarding the food additive, maybe there will be the problematic or the hypocalcemia issues rather than the fresh food and vegetable. So after a consensus and a long discussion with our nephrology team, so now we have more freedom in the food selection, especially for the fruit and vegetables. This is very important for us because according to our National Health and Mobility Survey 2019, 95% of us are not eating the recommended daily amount of fruit and vegetables. So imagine if you start telling your patients, okay, now you have hyperkalemia, you have to reduce all the green leaf veggie, banana, and so on. The patient will get in mind, okay, this is all dangerous, I have to do this. So it will put them more risk rather than the goodness if we start them on that. Okay, now we move on for the low protein diet adaptation. Just like Taiwan and also Thailand, we're using the protein exchange. Protein exchange or food exchange actually a group of food with the amount of macronutrients and also the calories. For example, one exchange of protein will be filled with 1 ounce of meat that will be from the poultry, fish, or maybe with meat. For Malaysia, they will use that as a matchbox size. It's easier for them to understand for the housing mentioned. So this is the animal protein exchange that we have. Each of the pictures here contains 7 grams of the protein, and we show this to our patients during the discussions in the clinic. And this is a plant protein exchange. Again, each of the pictures here contains 7 grams of protein. So it means it gives the patient the freedom to exchange animal and the plant protein from time to time. Yes, we do encourage our patients to practice a plant-based diet, but again, not many patients who love the plant-based, they prefer animal product. So what we do is we advise them to have at least 3 to 4 meals of plant-based protein to replace animal protein in the week. So again, this is a zero carbohydrate food with a low dietary value. So each of these contains 2 grams of protein. Yeah, we are not as lucky as Japan, Thailand, and Taiwan that you may have the low protein food still zero chances. This way, I'm quite happy to have the low protein brown rice, but actually it's not available in Malaysia. So we have is just something simple. Yeah. So let's move on how we plan for a low protein diet. Just for example, let's say we have a patient for 50 kg. Yeah. If you choose to put them on a 0.6 gram of protein to patient for body weight, in this patient will need 30 grams of protein per day. So if we break down to the food exchange, means the patient will need 2 exchange of protein, and 8 exchange of carbohydrate food, fruits will be 3, with sugar will be 2, that will be 12 exchange on the liquid calories, about 80 kilocalories per kg. So the patient will understand that this is the amount of the mix that they have. They can either put at lunch, dinner, or breakfast and lunch. It depends on their preference. And next, we have to put in the carbohydrate choices that contain the low value proteins and the fruit. And at last, the sugar and also the fat, the most of the calories. This is what we would like the patient understand. We have no choice because when we reduce protein, we have to either increase the carbohydrate or the fat or both together to make sure there's adequate energy intake to reduce the rate of the malnutrition. So this is a low protein energy sources that we have in Malaysia at the moment. I hope the low protein brown rice will be coming soon. If hopefully it will be a good price to our population. And these are low protein carbohydrate choices that we have like sagu, putu mayam, sugar, tangkang, and so on. And this is a low protein snack that is available. So we may ask the patient to take this as part of the dessert or as a pre-planned as food for post-station meal or under weight to make sure they have no extra or further weight loss. Well, we also have the low protein energy enteral nutrition formula that we usually use as a supplement or meal replacement. So meaning the meal replacement is for post patients, especially for the working adults who have the difficulty to adherence to protein specific diet. For example, they may have a bottle of the low protein, high energy formula during the lunchtime so that they can enjoy a good meal for the dinner or in another way. So it's easier for the patients to social with the family and friends. And at the same time, when we use a low protein and enteral nutrition formula as a supplement or as a snack for patients who are unable to consume adequate energy intake when following a low protein diet. For example, like elderly patients, they have difficulty to chew the food, and this may be one of the better alternatives for them. Well, if the patient is unlucky that they progress with the end-stage kidney disease and they started on dialysis, then we have to tell the patient to stop the low protein diet. Basically, the dialysis is quite, the service in Malaysia is quite easy to access. So each of the patients for HD, they will have 3 sessions per week. And most of the costs is supported by the government. So at this stage, we have to ensure adequate protein intake because the patients will be highly prevalent for malnutrition when they start on the dialysis. Because of the high protein intake, we have to help the patients to titrate the phosphate fiber according to the phosphate content each meal. For example, something like this. Yes, we have also expensive phosphate fiber that in Malaysia like lanthanum, ceramide, as well as iron-based phosphate fiber now. But because of the cost, I would say 70% more of the population are still using the calcium carbonate. Because of the cost is quite huge difference between that. And for this stage, we always advise again on the low salt diet because most of us will have a high salt intake and we restrict the processed food to both reduce the phosphate as well as the potassium and prioritize the fresh food if possible. Yeah, because with that, the patients may not be able to have the home cooked food. So it's something that we have to emphasize to them. And weight restrictions and water restrictions will be another challenge for us because in Malaysia, I would say we are always summer. We do not have like autumn and winter just like we all. So it's important to let the patients measure the daily fluid intake so that they can maintain the dry weight as well as to calculate and to include all those grade from the ice cube, ice cream, soup, gravy, and so on. When the patients are successful to get kidney transplantation, the objective of the dietary management will be changed because most of the kidney functions will be restored after the kidney transplantation. That will be an issue coming up. According to the research, up to 50% of the kidney transplant recipients will experience kidney. And the average between the first year after the renal transplantation is approximately 10%. So in Malaysia, this is data we collected in one of the hospital in Central Center with 204 kidney transplant recipients. We noticed that more than 60% of them with a BMI more than 23. So imagine if these patients gain weight after transplantation, will increase the risk of getting all the metabolic syndrome. And for the metabolic syndrome, this will be increase the rate for the graft loss as well as the death by the cardiovascular disease. So if we can calculate that earlier, so it will reduce the risk of the graft loss and get the patient out of the sick clinic itself. So for post-transplantation, the focus is more on the weight management, restrict the processed food to reduce the salt again, and emphasize a lot on the fresh food, plant-based diet, and the low dietary acid diet as Now this is a summary of the dietary interventions in the different stages of the CKD. You can see clearly from the chart here, so diabetic management is still on map with the patient's diabetic throughout the age stages, and the weight management will be important for early stage of CKD patients to reduce the risk for the CKD progression. For stage 3 to stage 5 of pre-dialysis stage, low protein diet. For the stage 5 with HC or PD, we size the low salt. And now we switch to adequate protein. Low protein will be emphasized if the patient having hyperkalemia. And the focus right now is not the vegetable and fruit, but mainly on the herbal product, because in Malaysia, we may have all those herbal products, especially from Malay. They are our main basis in Malaysia. And also all the dietary supplements when contributing extra protein as well as the active food with the protein supplement. Low phosphate diet as well as a weight restriction. There are post-transplantations, that the diet is a must if you can see a diabetic, or post-transplant new onset diabetes. Food management, low salt, and also the low dietary acid diet. Means for low dietary acid load means here is we want to avoid excessive protein intake for this food occasion. So this is the tools that we developed to support our education for our patients. And we have some quick chart. We also have some folder, and also now we have some apps. Now for last year, we just launched our phosphate calculations apps. So we educate the patients on how to titrate the phosphate either, and then to help them. And this is the recipe book that we developed for our CKD patients. So the recipe book for the pre-dialysis as well as the post-dialysis. And this is the reference that I use in my presentations today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Whiting, for the nice presentation.
Next speaker is Mr. Masasune Nodaka. He's born in Ishigaki Island. He's registered dietitian in Japan. Now he's running his company. Nutrition support department. Okay. Are you ready? He will talking about CAPD, HB, and kidney transplantation experience. Retrospective view from the perspective of research dietitian. Are you ready? Okay. And start.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to meet you all today. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Masasune Nodaka. I'm from Ishigaki Island, and I love the local specialty Yayama soba. I currently live in Naha City with my wife and two sons, making us a family of 4. I have been working as a registered dietitian for 24 years. and have been living with kidney disease for 33 years. Today, I would like to give a speech for about 20 minutes from the perspective of a registered dietitian on my experiences with CAPD, HD, and kidney transplantation. The reason I became a registered dietitian is that I became interested in the mystery of how the nutrients contained in food are related to human health and disease. When I was 15 years old and hospitalized for my first kidney biopsy diagnosis, I remember that the hospital meal I ate tasted delicious, I thought. But my mother tasted it and said, "It tasted." Then I wondered, how does the taste affect the kidney? I thought it was interesting that the cause and effect of what happens to the body when food is ingested. I will tell you in this order. One set of kidney disease, introduction of artificial dialysis, kidney transplant, and subsequent meals does not worsen that disease. Let's start. My illness was discovered when proteinuria was detected in my urine during the school urine test. In April of my third year of junior high school, I took another test and found proteinuria again. And my health teacher suggested to go to a large hospital and have a more precise examination. However, I didn't go to the hospital right away because I had my last junior high school basketball tournament coming up in June. In August 1990, after finishing the tournament, I visited a nephrologist in General Hospital. IgA nephropathy, which is a form of chronic nephritis, was diagnosed by kidney biopsy. It is a disease in which antibodies mistakenly attack one's kidney. In July 1995, I was a first-year student at the university. I visited a nephrology department at the university hospital and was hospitalized for a detailed examination. I was called to a small private room for an explanation of my medical condition. On the whiteboard, there was a graph where the horizontal axis represents age and the vertical axis represents renal function. The doctor began the explanation while looking at the graph. Your kidneys were functioning at 50% when you are 15 years old. I think you were diagnosed with chronic nephritis. Kidney function has decreased to only 15%. It was worsened to chronic renal failure. I felt a loneliness like darkness pressing from behind. The most important thing in dietary therapy for MDD-CKD is protein restriction. I received an explanation from a registered dietitian upon discharge from the hospital that as a result of dietary therapy, restricting protein intake, my serum creatinine levels decreased. I realized that diet affects the body. I will now address the most common misunderstandings of patients regarding dietary therapy for MDD-CKD. When providing nutritional guidance, some patients believe that it is correct to avoid carbohydrates and fat. For example, I don't like for dinner. I don't fry at home, or I boiled three times to remove the fat. I often hear such voices from patients. The energy supply sources are protein, lipids, and carbohydrates. Since the intake of protein as energy is suppressed, it is necessary to increase the intake of carbohydrates and fat. Registered dietitians need to disseminate correct knowledge of dietary therapy for NDD-CKD. From here, I'd like to describe how I decided to start artificial dialysis, the implementation of CAPD, and the transition to HD. The condition of my kidneys was worsening day by day. My systolic blood pressure remained at 200 millimeter mercury. I could hear the sound of blood vessels pulsating around my temples in private places. My legs were swollen like an elephant, and my testicles were also blistered. I hated going out because of the pronounced edema on my face and eyelids. There was also nausea and vomiting in the early morning on an empty stomach. I was always short of breath and sleep deprived. In November 1995, at the age of 20, I decided to undergo dialysis based on the words of my doctor. He said, your whole body is swollen and your heart is enlarged with water. The coughing symptom is because the lungs are also filled with water. It's like drowning on land. If I had symptoms like yours, I would definitely do dialysis. Then I asked him, Doctor, can the swelling in my legs be reduced? Will my shortness of breath improve? The doctor said, the swelling in your legs will go away, and you won't have shortness of breath. Moreover, your meals will become more delicious. I'll undergo dialysis, I finally told him. Dialysis was started immediately after that. Then the doctor held my hand and smiled gently, saying, It's started. I felt relieved and at the same time held back my tears. Within few weeks after that, I had a catheter inserted and started CAPD. I chose CAPD because I focused on having fewer restrictions on protein, potassium, and water. However, water removal did not work and the area was always swollen. The biggest problem with meals was salt reduction. Living alone, I was able to eat as I pleased. I enjoyed all-you-can-eat yakiniku, ramen and udon noodles, eaten at a drive-in at midnight, and hot pot at home. Even those edema always appeared after such a meal. The lower water removal in CAPD could be due to excessive salt intake. I started HD in the winter of 1999 before I graduated. HD is available 3 times a week. The nurse told me, I won't let you lose more than 4 kilograms. So I desperately tried to hold back my start. One day, I experienced a weight gain of 4.8 kilograms. I had them remove all of it. After that, I felt dizzy and unsteady walking. I heard that there was a doctor who practiced overnight dialysis, so requested to be transferred to that clinic. Water and toxin removal are done gradually, so there were no leg cramps, and my physical strength seems to have improved. I was glad that I could work until evening and did not have to rush to the HD facility. I had more time and could enjoy dinner with my family. When I was told that I would receive a kidney transplant on August 7th in 2019, I felt a sense of liberation, thinking, finally, it's my turn. I don't have to go to HD anymore. On the other hand, there was also a dreamy part of me that wondered, is this really happening? After transplantation, I started incorporating certain foods into my diet in hopes of promoting sodium excretion. I actively consume potassium-rich foods, such as dried fruit. Banana chips are particularly convenient. I also make use of Okinawan brown sugar, which is high in potassium. Additionally, I enjoy drinking tomato juice. I continue to reduce salt intake. I don't add seasoning to stir fry, grill, or deep fry food. Also, I don't eat many processed foods because they have a lot of salt. I used to keep table salt on hand in case it was too tasteless, but I stopped using it because I wanted to enjoy the natural taste. However, there are times when I want to eat something with a strong flavor. At those times, I become loose with my salt intake. The most common misconception about reducing salt intake is that some people believe, sorry, no daughter. The most common misconception about reducing salt intake is that some people believe that reducing the amount of seasoning will reduce their salt intake. For instance, a patient who doesn't use salt in his diet eats vegetables with pickled in lacquer vinegar, or having bread for every breakfast not knowing the bread contains salt. This is because there is a lack of knowledge about which food salt comes from. You should know that processed foods account for 60% of your sodium intake. Even those of us registered dietitians who are not well informed need to improve our communication skills. I'd like to discuss something during this workshop. Specifically, I want to address the issues regarding renal failure countermeasures and dietary therapy in Japan. School urine tests conducted from elementary school to university students are useful for early detection of CKD. When I was in the third year of junior high school, proteinuria was detected and abnormal kidney function was found. However, 5 years later, I had to undergo dialysis due to worsening CKD. Looking back, there are two turning points. The first was that I didn't go to the hospital when proteinuria was discovered, but postponed it until after the basketball tournament. At that time, I regretted thinking, if I had gone to the hospital right away, my nephritis might not have become chronic. The second thing is that I didn't go to the hospital for a year after graduating from high school. Instead, I studied for university entrance exams at a prep school. A naive child who left home did not have the wisdom to go to a hospital outside the prefecture. The common problem in these two cases is that they did not seek medical attention at the appropriate time. Reasons for not visiting the hospital include troublesome, no time, no money, and don't know what to do. To put it extremely, it's the same as saying, it's okay for my kidney to be bad because it's troublesome. Or it's okay for my kidney to be bad because there's no time. Just as spending your saving money decreases at a time. Our current actions determine our future selves. However, if it is easy, does not take much time, and is inexpensive to know the appropriate hospital, will you visit it? I don't think I would. I believe that the biggest driving force for human behavioral change is fear. I think the biggest reason why people don't go to the hospital is that they have a low awareness of the symptoms of CKD. And at the mild stage of CKD, there are few noticeable symptoms. So they have the illusion that they are healthy. I hope for innovation to find an effective way to know fear. Personally, I'd like to have a way to experience the symptoms of kidney disease. Regarding food and drink temptation, they are not a major factor in themselves. So-called junk food is not a villain. Hamburgers, pizza, cup noodles, etc. are convenient to eat in these modern times. I want you to eat deliciously while managing your weight and self-management so that you do not get lifestyle-related diseases. Foods that are low in salt, low in energy, low in saturated fatty acids, and rich in energy fatty acids, making you healthy when eaten and delicious. If there are such foods and drinks, the number of people who develop lifestyle-related diseases may decrease. Recently, I purchased a food fiber drink at a convenience store. It was yummy. It contains 8 grams of dietary fiber per bottle. You can easily and inexpensively supplement dietary fiber with delicious drinks. If unsalted noodles and bread become popular, it will be a step towards improving excessive salt intake from staple foods. I hope that in the future, there will be many foods and dishes that are tasty and good at preventing lifestyle-related diseases. In conclusion, in the future, I want to talk to many people about nutrition and kidney disease. The reason I became a freelance registered dietitian is that I wanted to provide nutritional guidance to various people without being bound by time. At lectures, I was able to convey the importance of nutrition to more people than individual nutritional guidance. When I proposed the recipes on TV, I was surprised at the amount of the response. While utilizing various media such as books and radio, I want to convey the idea of nutrition through the experience of kidney disease patients. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing your painful and recently happy experience. Thank you.
Now we are open for the panel discussion. We are welcoming your questions for the our speakers. Any questions from the audience? I have a question for the speakers. Could you share your opinion about the eating during your diagnosis? Will it start away? I will start with my colleague. Can you share opinion about the eating during hemodialysis start away? Eating during hemodialysis.
the hemodialysis in it, and it depends on the patient themselves. Some of them have a low blood pressure, so eating during dialysis might make it worse. So I think it have to be which means test by test that he can eat or not during dialysis. I think the thing that we would like the patient done from eating during dialysis is choking during that time actually, and many like blood pressure drop. That's why as a dietitian, it depends on really. But I think that eating after dialysis is very important because some of the patients, lack of energy after the dialysis. So if to me, it just depends on the unit policy that they can eat during dialysis or not, as well as the patient themselves and the physician and the nurses and the healthcare team to determine that can they eat during dialysis. I'm not sure that any one of any in here that can allow the patient to eat during dialysis. No, you allow. Okay, in Malaysia you allow. Or is it everyone or it's case by case? I'm not sure.
We allow our patients to eat during the dialysis. It depends to case to case. For example, for those malnourished patients, we will make sure to have enough protein, especially. So basically, we provide them some high protein food that we make sure they eat and finish the food during the session, so that we can monitor how it's put into look like. Yeah. So for example, if the patients can afford, we may ask them to buy the oral nutrition supplements, which are high in the protein but very limited in the liquid content. Yeah, so but I agree with Dr. said, some patients, if they experience a low blood pressure, so we won't allow them to eat during dialysis. So it depends on case to case action. Thank you.
Doctor, when you work at the acute care hospital, did you get understanding from your workplace about what you doing there? ジャパニーズです。sorry。透析とか、CATP とかをしながら、お仕事をするという、今フリーなので、それだと思うんですけど、やっぱりお仕事したり、勉強したりするときに、どういう、なんていうんでしょう、理解を得るような努力をされたのでしょうかということですかね。なんか困難というか、難しかったこととか。
運が良かった周りの方にすごく助けられます。運が良かったっていうこともあるんですけど、自分で気にしてたのは、なるべく笑顔でコミュニケーションにとって自分のことを知ってもらうために、自分のその病気のことを話してっていうことをしてます。
Share about your family, friends, co-worker, and hospital president. Share you are busy sharing. It's important to share myself busy around your people. He said. わかる？大丈夫ですかね？Thank you.
Okay, I think we will pause the dietitian session now and receive
Thank you very much for the some of the directions. I learned a lot because of the so many diversities. So I think it is sharing the knowledge and the experience is quite important. So I'm very happy to listen to them. Okay, so but this Dr. Duo D's, his presentation is quite different from the Dutch and the experience, but I am expecting to listen to his presentation. Please get started. You have the slide there?
Okay, thanks, Dr. Xi, for your introduction. And firstly, I would like to thank you and Sawasadi invited me to participate. That's very interesting workshop. Well, and my talk a little bit different from my abstract, and I suppose talk some advanced in data therapy for CKD in China, and so I get this job from the coach. I wrote abstract for some animal study. So later I think I would like to talk something to you about China data therapy for CKD. What's the situation in China currently? And well, for CKD, that's all the risk factors associated with CKD. At the top 3, the hypertension and some cardiovascular disease risk factors, and the diabetes, and also genetic factors, for example, family history. That's the main risk factors for CKD. But and also other risk factors, just like drug use, unappreciated some drug use, and aging, obesity and overweight. Obesity and overweight has strong link to diabetes, of course, associated with CKD. And smoking and some environment. Well, for environmental, the government will they can't do anything about it. But the unhealthy diet, that's what we can do as a nutritionist. And I will today emphasize about the healthy diet. Well, about CKD situation in China, the different studies they report different prevalence ratio. But this is the big cohort from my student group. That's Hao Huang from the Peking University, and his former my PhD student. And this cohort has more than 500,000 population. That's a very big cohort. And also that's a very successful cohort study. That's very, very well quality controlled. Well, in this study included about 946,000 subjects, and in that subject KD patients is about 8,900. Well, that's all some characteristics. I don't want to read through all about that. and you can say about the diabetes, hypertension, and some cardiovascular risk factors all significantly high. If you check up the p-value in there, and in CKD patients then health control. Well, I don't want to go with detail about that. And that's the China's situation about the CKD distribution. If color, red color, that's more patients there. Some color getting worse, and that's much less. You can say that's the distribution. Of course, Tibet is lowest, and you can say left side that is CKD, right side that is about creating serum creating level. Well, that's the prevalence and being creating, you can say, increased stepwise with aging. And if greater than 70 years old, that's CKD, much higher than other age groups. But serum creating level, you can say, little bit stepwise increase, but not significant. Well, that's in Chinese story about that, and that's about Dr. Gardner for early evaluation and management of CKD in China. And that's include about diet therapy, but mainly that is from the medical clinic treatment. And in this study, the report China, that's nationwide survey, more than 10% of CKD, that's age 18 plus population, not including under 18 years old. Well, most of the subjects that have hypertension. Hypertension in China, as you know, Chinese is quite high. For men, about 12 to 13 grams per day. For women, more than 2 grams per day. That's quite high. That high salt intake strongly associated with hypertension and also linked to the CKD. Well, problem is that for 12.5% of CKD population in this patients record, they don't know they have CKD until after health examination survey, and doctor said, "Oh, you got CKD." I think the situation is similar with other countries, especially in state 1 or 2. Nobody aware about the kidney problem. Well, this is the staging of CKD patients in China. Staging 1 to 2, about 84%. That patient in the state. But stage 4 to 5, only 0.9%. But hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis stepwise increase, that's year by year. You can say PD slowly increase, but for HD increase quite fast. And that's both in China, about 1 million. You can say 1 million patients have a diagnosis. That is a very high rate of dialysis. Whether that's a controlled strategy of treatment pathway, that's a flow chart for lung dialysis CKD. Anyway, this is mainly for clinical doctor and step by step from the diagnosis and the lifestyle intervention. And of course, the diagnosis is very important. First, doctor should be know that patient is in which state, and the different state, as you know, treatment is different. Even doctor therapy is different. Well, change in lifestyle of CKD patients. That's a recommended that CKD patients engage in reasonable, moderate, and regulate exercise to improve prognosis and delay CKD progression. Okay, this is exercise needed, but you have to suitable for you, especially for CKD patients. If you want a marathon, definitely no. If you should running for 100 meters, no. So you have suitable exercise for you. And limit sodium intake. Sodium intake, that's definitely whatever weight state, sodium intake always needed to be limited. Try to reduce your salt intake, and that's not just protect for your cardiovascular system or your blood pressure. And high sodium intake or too saturated with a lot of different ingredients. Well, CKD 1 to 2 stage patients should avoid high protein diet with the protein intake 0.8 to 1 gram per kilo per day. This is the notation from everyone taught today, and yes, Parkinson or inflation is the standard. Well, for lung dialysis patients with stable metabolism in CKD stage 3 to 5 should limit protein intake in their diet to reduce risk of end-stage kidney disease and death. Well, moderate increase the proportion of plant protein intake. Yesterday already someone from Reagan talked about the plant-based diet. Well, protein should be mainly comes from the plant. Well, soil protein is very high quality protein, as you know, containing all the essential amino acids. So the soil protein should be primary protein for CKD patients. Of course, everyone should be quite small. Small is inflationary, decline. That's the basic example that is for European countries. After quite small, you can say cardiovascular disease, you also mortality, stability in the disease. looks like the US for 80 countries. Okay, Japan did very well, but China was still quite hard. Indonesia is quite hard, and Malaysia is also. Well, now let's move on to that's a new guideline. It can look quite new. That's published this 3 years ago for mutation therapy of CKD in China. Well, that's the diagnosis criteria for protein allergy wasting of PEW. And not just for CKD, for any patient diagnosis. Right diagnosis is the number one important for these patients and also for the therapy. Well, I'm sorry that's in Chinese. Actually, first one is the biochemistry parameters, and the second one pick up your muscle reduce, and pick up your body weight change, and how about your food intake each day, your peptide. Well, nutrition therapy, that's the Dr. Gardner is very well detailed. That depends on your patient's weight state and your non-diabetes or diabetes. That's for non-diabetes CKD in the stage 1 to 2. Well, protein 0.1 gram per kilo per day, and with large amount of protein urea, if high protein urea, that's the patient should be reduced to 0.7 kilogram per day. And also to add fatty acid treatment. For allergy, to ensure sufficient calorie intake to maintain a stable healthy weight. That healthy weight for any patient is very important. So we should monitor about your body weight. If body weight decline, you should increase allergy intake. Under your protein control, how to increase your total allergy intake using good lipids and good carbohydrates, of whole grain and some polysaccharides, and also polysaturated fatty acids, that has saturated fat. Liquid and inorganic salt, as I mentioned already, you should reduce sodium 2.3 grams per day. That's equal about 6 grams cooking salt per day. And eat more fruit and vegetables to reduce lactic acid production. And people always worry about if you eat too much fruit and vegetables, potassium is too high. Yesterday, because some Sweden talk about potassium. Actually, potassium, we need to monitor serum potassium level. To maintain potassium level, of course, quality is also important. It's very important. Okay. And for diabetes patients with CKD stage 1 to 2, we always avoid high protein intake. Well, recommended is about 0.8 grams per kilo per day. And allergy, 30 to 35 kilocalories and per kilo per day. Well, obese should be reduced will total cover reduce your total energy intake. Well, for reduce per day 1,500. For elderly, may consult reduce to 30 kilocalories per kilo per day. Sodium, same, okay, 2.3, look more than 6 grams salt per day. Well, for CKD stage 3 to 4 non-diabetic patients, if reached this stage, protein should be reduced to 0.3 to 0.6. Anyway, some countries produce it between 0.6 to 0.8. Anyway, this is part of data down the line should be reduced to 0.6, 0.6. And also you should supplement keto acid. Well, allergy 30 to 35. You should adjust depending on age and your gender, defect your body weight and other factors. Always should do some adjustment. Sodium, then not more than 6 grams of cooking salt per day. Potassium, individualizing the intake of potassium in the diet to ensure that the blood potassium within the normal range. So always monitoring serum potassium level. Keeping the normal range, that's okay. Okay, for stage 3 to 5 non-diabetic patients. Okay, for this patient, we should restricting the intake of phosphorus in the diet to maintain blood phosphorus within the normal range. Phosphorus, that's very important element. You know, phosphorus is part of ATP. If you no phosphorus, you have no ATP. And some countries, Australia, Sweden, that's the 2 countries in the soil and all the food. You know, very low phosphorus. If you check up about Australia and Sweden, they always supplement about the phosphorus. And they always collect urine. From urine, your toilet, flush the toilet, they start collecting the phosphorus. Phosphorus different from other elements. You know, nitrogen never finish, oxygen never finish, always there. But the phosphorus, if you're using more in our later sources, we decrease. But the phosphorus is very, very important to be part of your ACP. Well, calcium daily intake 800 to 1,000 milligrams. Vitamin D, well, for stage 3 to 5, and some studies showed that if you supplement with vitamin D, D2 or D3, that improves clinical condition. So that is can you data down the line that you can supplement some vitamin D, D2 or D3. Metabolic acidosis, the increased fruit and vegetable supplements with sodium bicarbonate to reduce body lactic acid. Well, because if you have a kidney problem, our kidney cannot adjust your body pH value. So acid toxicity is in the clinic is very important way to reduce and control your body acid. Well, stage 3 to 5 CKD patient with diabetes, well, protein 0.6 and energy 30 to 35, and depends on age, gender, defective body weight, and other factors. Always make some adjustment. Sodium same, okay, not more than 6 grams of cooking salt per day. And for potassium, have to adjust depends on your serum potassium level. Hard to adjust to the normal range. Well, phosphorus, restrict the intake of phosphorus in the diet to maintain blood phosphorus within normal range. Restricting, but it depends on your biochemistry validity to pick up the serum level. Calcium 800 to 1000. Vitamin and trace elements depends. Some doctors should have some supplements. Depends on the patient or not. Okay, make some adjustments. Exogenous nutrients. Patients with higher catabolism, okay, may concerned administrating intro or parenteral nutritional supplements. There are some patients that took all nutrients, they got a very high catabolism. Okay. If have that DW should give them intro or parenteral nutrition supplement. Well, for nutrition therapy for maintain hemolysis MHC patients, okay, that's you should increase the protein to 1 to 1.2 kilograms per day. Well, should also supplement alpha keto acid 0.12 grams. Energy 35 kilograms kilocal per kilogram per day. Serum albumin greater than 40, greater than 6, greater than 40 per liter, 40 grams per liter. If greater than 80 years old, should 30 to 35 kilocal per kilogram per day. Well, inorganic salt, we should further reduce cooking salt to less than 5 grams per day for MHC patients. Well, for calcium, active vitamin D and calcium supplement is helpful. There are some studies showed for MHC patients supplement with vitamin D and calcium improve immunity condition. Phosphorus 800 to 1000 milligrams per day. Choose food with low phosphorus to protein ratio. Serum albumin greater than 40 grams per liter, or age 60 years old, greater than 60 years old. Well, per day per kilogram calorie is 30. That's protein, 30 to 35 kilocalories. That's for totality. Vitamin and trace element, if necessary, should give them supplement. That depends on clinical condition. Well, intra and parenteral nutrition, it can be used, but if necessary. Well, for MPD patients, protein same with MHD, 1 to 1.2 kilograms per day. And also supplement alpha keto acid if necessary. LD 35 kilogram per day. And for sodium albumin, if greater than per liter 40 grams, and if age over 60 years old, that's the total LD should be 30 to 35. That's the range. Liquid, keep steady. If patient have a steady condition, that's 500 ml and plus urine volume from the previous day, and plus later peritoneal dialysis water loss from the previous day. And that's for transplant recipient. Well, you have to adjust the protein intake based on the EGF ratio. EGF ratio, that's a very important indicator for clinical nutritionist or dietitian to adjust for that protein. Within 3 months after transplantation, protein should be 1.4 grams per kilogram per day. After 3 months, reduced to 0.6 to 0.8. Well, alpha keto acid should be used if necessary, for 0.1 grams per kilo per day. LD after transplantation, 30 to 35 kilocalories per kilogram per day. Stable conditions should be reduced to 25 to 30. Okay, liquid. Always try to maintain enough sufficient liquid. You have to calculate about the urine and the water loss. And you have to limit about the sodium intake and control the blood pressure. Sodium intake, not among 3 grams. That's equal about 7 grams cooking salt. Calcium plus vitamin D if necessary. Okay. Phosphorus is 1,200 to 1,500. Vitamins and other elements if necessary. Depends on the clinical condition. Okay, take home message. And a well-designed starter patent with low protein plant-based. Well-designed starter patent, not a single nutrient. And that's this morning Thailand and Malaysia talked about this issue, very important. how to change the duties to food. That's very important. Patients don't understand about your how many milligrams penicillin, how many milligrams potassium. Soil and legume, small amount of lean. Okay, whole grain, not fresh processed, the fresh vegetable and the fruits, not processed. Reduce salt, control the potassium and the phosphorus. And control fresh sugar and sweetening beverage. And omega-3 rich fish or seafood. And this is animal product. There's a seafood is good for CKD. And pupa, oil, replace saturated fat. Supplement can be used if necessary. And the intro and the peritoneal nutrition can be used as necessary. Nutrition have to discuss with clinical doctor. That's for all my presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. D. I know that the current status of the recommendation of the about dietary therapy in China. I think there's no big difference from the KD-GO or Toki difference, right? Yeah, that's good. And also, I know that the number of HB and PB are close to 1 million in China. You recent 22, right? So how many for the transplant also?
Transplant patients from the year now, months about 10,000.
10,000. The number is crazy.
And that population each year is 2,000 transplants at each pharmacy from 2014 population. After some of the high, but but the time this year, transplantation is not. And also KKD, say before on the farm also
You showed that the north to south difference also?
Yeah, part of difference. So in the south, some parts, KKD very high.
Yeah.
But the north is low, some lower. And
but I think that the salt intake is high north than south, right?
I think this way, depends. Some salt farmers, they salt intake of quite high. And well, salt farmer is basically for some parts to live to the space. But it looks space, it goes to area where they eat mostly they good some food, but it's very high salt intake. But the local farmer, yeah, they should be some salt but high. But if you take up the farm and different area, that's a little bit different.
Also, there's a big difference in the dietary pattern from north to south, right?
Yeah, that's and the local farmer is the way of flour, that is the noodles and the skin the buns. And the salt farmer, I would say all is wrong. There is a very large and very close to wall, not in a wall. And the local farmer always break it out. So, the local farmer is about to see the local farmer. For example, Mongolia and my hometown country, maybe it's hate. Not part of it, and maybe it's hate.
Yes. Question for the audience? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so I think that this is the last presentation to Chen and Matt from the Philippines. Yeah. Okay, let's get started. Yeah, let's get started.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janine Pajamna, and with my colleague, Dr. Mark Milan, we are both physicians from the Philippines. And as an internist and a pediatrician, we have been treating numerous cases of CKD in our country. And working with the CKD have inspired us to dig into the challenges of managing CKD from the perspective of a lower middle income country such as the Philippines. And this led us to publishing an article in the Lancet Western Pacific. So in our article, we discussed the challenges in our country that faces when it comes to the provision of treatment for patients with ESRD. So these include limited coverage of the national state health insurance for renal replacement therapies, as well as the poor utilization of peritoneal dialysis in our country. So despite the introduction of the TB first policy in the Philippines. So CKD is among the leading causes of mortality in the Philippines, and its prevalence in our country is around 35.94%, which is much higher than the estimated global rate. So the latest data show that around 2.3 million Filipinos have CKD, and that about one Filipino develops the disease every hour. So in the Philippines, just like in other countries, the decision to initiate HD versus TB in a CKD patient depends on the clinical status of the patient, the infrastructures available, and the health financing in our country. So if the patient is hemodynamically stable and does not require rapid fluid removal or electrolyte correction and has an intact peritoneal cavity, clinicians generally opt for TB. However, another confounding factor that bends the decisions of most clinicians is logistics. So centers capable of doing vascular access advocate for HD. The apparent lack of PD centers in the Philippines hampers the decisions of physicians to proceed with PD. Moreover, in terms of training, most general internists, general pediatricians, and nurses are also more exposed to hemodialysis than PD. So in addition, patients who are economically challenged, who live near centers without PD capabilities, are also obliged to utilize HD. So the Philippines utilizes a state-owned health insurer, PhilHealth, which ideally guarantees all citizens automatic enrollment pursuant to the Universal Healthcare Law of 2019. So PhilHealth covers the costs of HD, PD, and KT in varying degrees. It provides coverages of 600,000 pesos or around 10,800 US dollars for KT, 270,000 pesos or about 4,900 USD for PD, and only 2,600 pesos or about 47 US dollars per session of HD. So back in 2013, only 45 HD sessions per year were covered by PhilHealth. So despite this, most patients still choose HD over PD, and a lot of patients had to resort to twice weekly sessions or pay out of pocket due to the incomplete PhilHealth coverage for HD in the past. So in response to this, the coverage of HD has been increased over the years, since it is the most widely utilized modality despite the country advocating for PD. So finally, in June 2023, PhilHealth coverage was expanded to 156 HD sessions to fully cover the recommended thrice-weekly annual treatment. However, patients still have to pay out of pocket for additional costs like their maintenance medications, dialyzers, and transportation to and from treatment centers. So the Philippine healthcare system made an attempt to utilize PD first in our country, as it is a more economically cost-effective option for renal replacement therapy, while still being as equally efficient in treatment as compared to HD. So this policy promotes PD as a first-line modality for eligible ESRD patients. And in line with this, PhilHealth introduced a PD First Z benefit package, which on paper claims to cover 90 to 120 PD solutions per month, or 3 to 4 PD solutions per day. However, in present practice, only 3 bags per day are actually covered. Hence, those with prescriptions requiring more are either under-dialyzed or have to pay out of pocket. As in every country, patients are still the decision makers in their entire health management process. So cultural factors, including personal perceptions of both the physician and the patients, affect the utilization of renal replacement therapy regimen. The patient's preference for HD is mainly due to supervised care and is often influenced by physicians' recommendations. Physicians' bias for HD is affected by the lack of formal training, specialized centers, and incentives in using PD. On the other hand, patients' unwelcoming attitudes towards PD arise from many factors such as fear of peritonitis, daily versus thrice weekly treatment, lack of education about the modality, patient burnout, family burden, and lack of confidence in self-treatment. So of course, even if patients are the main decision makers in their own treatment, management of CKD remains to be a team effort. And my colleague here will discuss about this further.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Mark. I agree with what Janine said, that it is really a multidisciplinary approach whenever we manage a patient with CKD. In the Philippines, of course, the nephrologist becomes one of the main decision maker, okay, that will guide the patient. And also other specialists such as cardiologists or endocrinologists on board will also help out, as well as the nurse and of course the nutrition specialist. Okay, the Filipino diet. The general approach to ensuring adequate nutrition in CKD patients includes maintaining adequate nutrition. And in the Philippines, I'd like to walk you through the common
components of the diet in the Filipino household. Well, the Filipinos love rice very much. And a meal is not a meal without rice. And rice is commonly eaten for breakfast and even for desserts. And rice is a staple food in the Philippines and being consumed more than other food groups actually, such as fruits, vegetables, and other sources of protein. And specifically, white rice is remains to be the most widely consumed type of rice in the Philippines. Aside from rice, the Filipinos also love to eat sweet food, and we have a preference for sweet or savory dishes for main course, such as lechon, barbecue, or grilled sausages. Okay, and the Filipinos also love to eat. Since we are an archipelago, we are composed of more than 7,000 islands. We love to eat fish. Okay, and fish is a staple and abundant source of protein. Now, for Filipinos with CKD, okay. Now, aside from us being fond of eating fish, we also love to use a lot of sauces, which are very salty. Take a look at just for an example, these are a variety of sauces that we use in the Philippines. Aside from fish sauce, we love liquid seasoning, which is very high in salt. And we also have what we call the bagoong, which is fish paste. Now, for CKD patients in general, we also follow the PDOKI guidelines in nutritional assessment and monitoring recommendations, such that in the adults, we usually follow the low protein or either a high protein diet, but in children, those patients that I managed back in the Philippines, the adolescents and the school age patients, we don't usually limit the protein because we allow them to still grow. Okay, so we usually give them a 1.2 to 1.3 grams per kilo per day prescription for their diet. Now, the Philippine Society of Nephrology follows this main guideline that we use for pre-dialysis chronic kidney disease patients. We use the PLEAT method for the lay people to understand it better, because if we give them numbers, they don't usually follow them that much because it's very hard for them to actually weigh the proteins or the food that they eat. So what we do is we give them like a visual presentation of the food so that they can easily follow them. And for CKD stage 5 requiring renal replacement therapy, this is an example of a visual aid that we give to our patients. Okay, well, aside from giving them visual aids, how do they usually approximate the food amount that they have to eat? Well, for the lay people and for those who are kind of illiterate, we usually use the palm method. We ask them to use their hand, okay, to approximate the different sizes of servings that we give them. Of course, this is not very accurate, but for people who live in the outskirts, in the provinces, who actually don't have the weighing scales or they don't actually have the measuring paraphernalias, we usually ask them to use their hand. Okay, what about, despite these efforts that we do for our patients, we actually have a lot of challenges in managing the nutritional support for our patients. Well, of course, one of the challenges is the compliance of the patients. You know, the usual low salt diet that we advise, or like a simple diversion from the usual protein intake, is very hard for the patients to follow. So compliance with the nutritional prescription is one of the challenges, especially those people coming from the low socioeconomic status, because they don't usually understand. That's why education is really important and taking time to talk to these patients. Number 2 is availability of healthy alternative food options. Okay, for high income countries, probably you can prescribe whatever alternative that you might want to prescribe. But in low income countries, it's really hard to look for alternatives that are affordable. So what we do is we usually give them a list of probable cheap options for alternative that they can use as alternative for protein sources or even carbohydrate sources. And of course, the lack of clinical nutritionists and dietitians is one of the main barriers We don't usually have a 1:1 ratio, okay, or at least a 1:10, but we have a one nutritionist for every 166,000 Filipinos. So this is one of the damages. And we think this opportunity to actually give us a wake-up call that we need actually nutritionists, okay, to play their role in our management of CKD patients. And with that, of course, I've talked about alternatives. We love to eat white rice, but we have brown rice in the market already, okay? And we are very open to using alternatives such as low protein brown rice to actually manage our CKD patients. Who knows, our previously white rice onigiri may become brown rice onigiri, okay? So I'd like to thank you and end this talk. These are our references, okay? And thank you for this opportunity to allow us to share our experience.
Thank you very much. I think one of the reasons why you have only one per 1,666,000.
I know the number is not really good because we have less numbers of nutritionists that care for the general population. But for CKD patients, it's not very popular in all the centers in the Philippines. But in the major centers in Manila, we have clinical nutritionists that guide the nephrologists and the patients.
Yeah. What is the reason for that?
I think in the Philippines, we are more focused on the curative aspect of medicine. So that's why in most hospitals, in most even HD centers, we focus more on, well, in general, the Filipinos are more focused on treating the disease. So there are more specialists, there are more doctors who treat the disease compared to primary medical doctors who would promote healthy options like food and promotion of health to prevent the disease. So I think that's why there's a lack of nutritionists in the country as well, because there's not a lot of focus being given to the nutritional aspect of these diseases, which is something that I think we can improve on in our country.
Yeah. What will be the nutrition? It's hope to increase.
Yes, we hope to increase that. There are some, so in the hospitals there are training programs as well, who are training doctors, clinical nutritionists, but it's quite new in the Philippines. So there are only a few training programs in the hospitals. There are only a few clinical nutritionists right now, but it's growing. It's a growing specialization, and as well as nutritionists and dietitians. It's not very common before to take these courses for Filipinos, because as I said, the Filipinos are more focused on the treatment aspect of the diseases. But I think it's something that we should improve on, because if we can prevent these diseases from happening through a good nutrition, then we can decrease the burden of the disease as well. So in the long run.
Yeah. Are there any comment or questions from the audience? Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
I think we finished all the sessions for this workshop. So thank you very much for coming, and see you. Dr. Watanabe, have some words.
Thank you very much to join this workshop. I'm very impressed. This is just a turning point of the dietary therapy for CKD patients. I have 4 comments. First is the low protein diet is essential for every CKD patient at any stage. And second is the collection of this biosis is necessary for decreasing the uremic toxin. Otherwise, drug therapy for kidney cells does not effective to control the CKD progression. And third is the personalized dietary therapy. Everybody gets the personalized dietary therapy and practice as well. And I suppose it should be supported by the team, not only individual medical staff. And food-based strategy is also necessary. Like in Thailand and Philippines, or other in southern countries try to make a food-based guideline for the patient. And the last is the evaluation is necessary because I think the RCT, randomized clinical trial, is very difficult in case of dietary therapy for CKD patients. So I think the individual pre and post uh, comparison is most effective and cheap, and it doesn't need so cost. So accumulation of each pre-post comparison data could make a new epidemiological approach for making the evidence of CKD treatment. Anyway, I have to say many thanks to Dr. Izeki and his wife, Children is too. And this is the second time workshop. And next year, I also asked Dr. Izeki to have such a conference here. And we are trying to make dietary guidelines from Okinawa as a center of Asian countries. Thank you very much.
Before coming, and hope to see you again here, not only Okinawa, but any other places. So welcome and safe to your home. So enjoy staying Okinawa. Huh? Let me take a photo.
you.